What's up, guys? This is Rise and welcome to another video. I've got a bit of a different one for you. This is going to be a breakdown of an epic battle I had in a Silph tournament. Going to be an in-depth analysis where I'm going to go over every single little thing, one battle, play at normal speed, going to pause it a lot throughout the battle, and just kind of take you through my process throughout a very high-level match, a match that I think would be difficult for most people to win, for anybody, including myself, to win. But when all things kind of go perfectly, sometimes you're able to get out of triple hard counter situations by managing your energy properly, forcing CMP ties, making quick decisions. And I thought this was good timing at the end of the season, because I'm going to try probably and put out more competitive Silph type content with this new GBL season approaching. And in this intro, I'll probably leave a timestamp as well when the actual battle breakdown starts in a minute or two. But also a little bit discouraging on social media lately when Niantic confirmed that there's no algorithm that pairs you against people that are hard counting your team. There was some people that still seem to deny, and this isn't supposed to be like throwing shade or starting drama or anything. Because I know, like, PokeAK, for example, is a big believer in the algorithm, even though they denied it, and thinks there's some sort of thing going on there. And I think it's and everyone's allowed to have their own opinion, right? You're allowed to have your own opinion, especially here in the States. Even though sometimes it kind of feels like in the States you can have your own opinion, freedom of speech, unless certain people disagree with you, then you can't say it. But that's beside the point. I think it's discouraging to tell people there's a GBL algorithm that purposely pairs you against hard counters, because I just don't think that it's logical or that it makes sense. Because if it's purposely pairing you against hard counters, that means it's also pairing the person you're playing against favorable matchups. In other words, it's just random. And there's a reason why a lot of the same high-level battlers are consistently at the top of the leaderboard, because they tend to make the least amount of mistakes. They time their moves correctly. They understand their matchups, how to play out matchups. There's a lot of ABB lines that they see over and over, so they know how to play out certain lines specifically to win. And yeah, there's a lot of reasons for that. So it's just discouraging when I see, like, Zionic put out a poll how many people believe in this algorithm, and there's like 70% of people believe in it. And you got to address your own lack of gameplay, of skills in this game, right? There's only so much skill involved in this game, but you can maximize that skill to give yourself as good of a chance to win as possible. And like, that's something I had to do, right? Back in season 3, I missed Legend, or it was ranked 10 at that time, and I had to re-examine. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I didn't just sulk and say, oh, this game is out to get me. There's nothing I could have done. There probably was a lot I could have done. There probably was a lot of games I could have played better and flipped some of those matchups with proper move timing, quicker swaps, quicker reactions, knowing my counts, being more knowledgeable about energy. And I did that. And I studied PvPoke, and I played in a lot of tournaments for practice. And now Legend for me is kind of like an afterthought. It's kind of an easy thing at this point for me, because I've practiced a lot, and I spent a lot of hours in this game. So, long intro, but if you didn't want to hear me ramble, it's about time to get into the battle breakdown. And this was a Silph Guardian matchup against Hot Striker 9. If you're unfamiliar with Silph, Show 6, Pick 3 format. I'm not going to go in depth explaining Silph. I've done it more multiple times on the channel. So you can look up silph.gg if you've never heard of it. But it's something that I do a lot. A lot of you guys know me for my YouTube content, my Twitch streams. But I'm also pretty into Silph, and I am currently ranked number 4 globally. So it's something I put a lot of time into as well. And you see our teams here in the Guardian Cup. My team, Dragonite, Primeape, Luxray, Alomomola, Steelix, Gourgeist. His team, Pidgeot, Gourgeist, Machamp, Steelix, Pelipper, and Luxray. So we have somewhat similar teams. We both have Luxray. We both have a counter user. I have Primeape, he has Machamp. We both have a water type. He's got Pelipper. I've got Alomomola. We both have Steelix. Steelix is extremely common in this meta. Yeah, both have Gourgeist. I don't know if I said that already. And then we both have a Flyer. So pretty similar teams. I immediately see Primeape, as per usual, is a very effective safe swap for me. It's really only afraid of the Pelipper because even Pidgeot, I can probably get a shield from with Ice Punch. Even Gourgeist, even though it's a ghost, Night Slashes are going to chunk. And if I get ahead on energy, I know I can flip that. So I like my Primeape here. My Luxray looks pretty solid, to be honest. It's afraid of the Steelix. It's not going to be too happy against Gourgeist or Machamp, but it's going to really do well against those Flyers. Gourgeist is kind of sketchy. It's got some really good matchups like against Machamp, but it's going to just get completely hard-walled by Pidgeot. And then Dragonite, as long as Dragonite avoids the Steelix, it looks pretty good and pretty dangerous against the opponent's team. Alomomola as well really only has to worry about the Gourgeist. And Luxray, if shields are down, obviously that Wild Charge is going to hurt like heck. So enough of a breakdown of the team comps themselves. And we are going to get into this battle. Let me mute this because you guys can't hear it, but I'm going to hear myself talking. That'll be distracting. So we lead the Luxray into Steelix. So this is the worst possible lead. And I'm looking at my opponent's team, right? So Luxray has a lot of good targets. The Pelipper is a great target. The Pidgeot's a great target. Machamp, I'm going to lose in the one shield, but I can probably get shield advantage by throwing Psychic Fangs, maybe throwing 2 of them and then dipping out. And then the Mirror, of course. So this is the worst possible lead for us. So we need to make sure we have multiple Steelix answers in back with my team comp. So, sorry. I know I already went back to beginning, but just by seeing the Luxray, like, you know I'm not going to have Dragonite in the back. You know I'm going to have things that can cover the Steelix to make sure that I can try and get myself out of this. So I swap immediately into Primeape. And some of you guys might be thinking, I'll play it 1 second ahead. Some of you guys might be thinking, Rise, this is like basic PvP 101. Why did you swap your hard counter into the Steelix and not your own Steelix into the Steelix? Well, because Primeape is a lot safer against my opponent's team. If I swap in my Steelix and they swap in their Machamp, it's pretty much game over. I'm going to get shredded by that Machamp, and I don't think I can flip it from there. Versus if I swap in my Primeape, worst case scenario, they bring in Pelipper, which is a pretty hard answer, but I know I can probably get a shield out of that, and I might be able to farm with my Luxray. And then if they bring in Pidgeot, I know I can for sure get a shield advantage there. And there's a chance they don't bring either Flyer, because if you look at my team with that Steelix, with the Luxray, they might be a little afraid to bring those Flyers. Pelipper's going to struggle as well against Dragonite. So Primeape is the safer swap, and I know it's going to have a better time functioning in this role. So that's why I'm swapping into my Primeape and not into my Steelix. I'm swapping directly into my hardest counter. And look at this. They swap in a Gourgeist. And this matchup is not that bad. And I can actually get into some advanced PvPoke stuff here. I wasn't planning on this. If I do this, does it stay? Yep, the screen stays good. But if I go to pvpoke.com, and these are things that I do like before I start playing in tournaments in the month when I build my teams, so that I know these situations and what I can potentially do. So let's zoom in a little bit here. This is pvpoke.com. If you don't know where I am, just type it in. pvpoke.com. I go to battle. And if we type in Primeape here against Gourgeist, we'll just do the super version, I guess, since that's, I think, the highest ranked version. And I'm running Ice Punch here as well. If I click battle, look, it says I lose all even shields, okay? That's fine. What if I change this so I have a 2 counter lead? Because if I swap in, I'm going to have a 2 counter lead, right? Once this Gourgeist comes in. Does it change? No, it doesn't change. Okay. Well, what if I take away my 2 counter lead? So we're just starting even energy. But the way these are default set is that you're baiting and then you're landing the big move. So what if I turn off baiting? What if this Gourgeist goes straight Shadow Ball? It still wins. Okay. What if, because Gourgeist usually isn't going to go straight for the big move, they're almost always going to go straight Seed Bomb. What if they go straight Seed Bomb? They don't bother throwing the Shadow Ball. I win the 0 shield. I win the 0 shield if I call the Seed Bomb. What if I give myself a 2 counter lead and they're going straight Seed Bomb? I win the ones. So those are some situations you can know to maximize your gameplay. Sorry, went to the wrong scene there. But now we head back. We've been through like 2 seconds of gameplay and I've already broken it down for how long. But now we're going to let this play out a little bit more. I get a shield, okay. My opponent throws after 1 Hex there. Seed Bomb's going to chunk. And you see me go for a denial here. So this is risky, right? This is where I get into advanced move timing, which some of you guys already know. Some of you guys know completely what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might not fully understand move timing yet. But counter right is a 2-turn fast move. That's what Primeape is running. Hex is a 3-turn fast move. So normally, what you would want to do in this situation is throw after 1 counter, which is 2 turns, compared to 1 Hex, which is 3 turns. That way you're guaranteeing your opponent won't sneak on you. You're only giving them 1 free turn of energy. But what I do here is I risk it for the biscuit, as our friend Zionic says. I throw on alignment. So I throw after 3 counters. Because if I can get a denial here, 3 counters being 6 turns, each counter being 2 turns, versus 2 hexes, 6 turns. If I can get the denial, I know I can then get to another Night Slash before going down. And this isn't necessarily like things I'm kind of thinking about before the game. This is kind of just using my judgment in the moment, just kind of going for it. And I do get the denial there, meaning the Gourgeist did not sneak through a Hex. So I know I'm going to get to this next Night Slash before they can farm me down. And this is huge because now my opponent has to make the decision, do I double shield? And they kind of have to, right? They're not going to give up a shield and switch. So they double shield here. And I'm trying to think, okay, so he has switch, he has energy. And I also know that there's a Steelix aligned with my Luxray. So is it worth just sacrificing my Luxray here? Can my Steelix sweep? Well, if there's a Machamp in the back, which I think there very well could be, because what's Steelix weak to? Well, Steelix is weak to Primeape. It's weak to Alomomola. What can kind of handle those? I mean, Steelix or Machamp is very possible. So, in case there is a Machamp, I feel like I need to keep my Luxray healthy because my Steelix is not going to be able to take out the Machamp. I'm going to need the Luxray. So I'm actually going to decide to come in here with the Steelix. I sneak in a Dragon Tail. I'm debating whether I want to shield or not. I decide not to because I know I can eat the Shadow Ball, but at the same time, I know I need my Steelix fairly healthy to take out the opposing Steelix. In comes Machamp. I get out of there as soon as possible. And here we go. So this is terrible, right? This is game over. We've got our Luxray against a Steelix. We've got our Steelix against the Machamp. We're kind of just RPS'd out of our mind. Triple hard countered. But I am up 2 shields. And I do have a very spammy moveset. I have Snarl, which generates energy very quickly. And I have Psychic Fangs, which is a debuff move, which I'm going to be able to get off a lot. So I'm thinking already, okay, how the heck can I win this game? I'm going to have to stall my switch clock so I can try and get out of here eventually and maybe store a Psychic Fangs for the Machamp. But we're going to make sure to try and get these off as soon as possible to keep debuffing our opponent, and eventually maybe they will start adding up. I sneak in a Snarl there, which is pretty huge. Have to shield. Like, what else am I going to shield at this point? I gotta get off more damage here as well. I get another denial. So the denials in this game are also going in my favor, right? We're triple hard countered, so a lot of things, a little bit of luck involved as well for things to go our way. I overfarm here, and the reason being is I'm trying to throw off my opponent's count. I'm keeping track of the Dragon Tails, right? We're at 231 in the battle. So I'm keeping track of the Dragon Tails. If we backtrack all the way, and don't worry, I'll go right back to where we were. But we lead against the Steelix. Steelix is at 1. It's at 1. We fast forward. Machamp comes in. Steelix comes back. 2. 3. And then we'll let it play out again. We're keeping track of the Steelix's energy. 4. 5. Steelix is at 5. So after this crunch, it should be dry on energy. One. Okay. We get the denial. I'm a little bit over farmed here. 2, 3, 4. I throw here before the Steelix has the crunch. The Steelix is 1 away, and I'm hoping I can CMP tie here on this next Psychic Fangs. I throw it right away. It looked like a CMP tie. Let's see if it actually was. Psychic Fangs coming through. Gets the Steelix extremely low. I'm trying to swap out if I can to catch. At this point, I have to decide whether I want to keep my Luxray alive. And I think about it for a split second. And there's really no point in me shielding the Luxray, right? Because if I shield it, it's just going to get countered down by the Machamp. He's not going to let me snarl down the Steelix. So there's really no point in me shielding this Luxray. I also have to keep a shield for my own Steelix for the cross chop of the Machamp. We forced the CMP, which is huge for us. And now we have to get to this Earthquake as our Steelix is getting low. Oh man, it's pretty dang low. Will this Earthquake be enough to KO? And again, there's no point in settling for crunch. I have to commit to the EQ here. EQ KOs. And the Dragon Tails take out the Steelix for the win. Oh my gosh. Just a crazy game. And triple countered. We lead Luxray into Steelix. We swap Primate Brummet by Gourgeist. Now, I guess you wouldn't call this necessarily a hard counter. Maybe this is more of a soft counter. But I would still definitely consider Gourgeist against Primate a counter. But like we know, if we call the Seed Bomb, Primate straight up wins the Zero Shield. So that's huge, that knowledge. And the biggest part of this matchup, this whole game really, was the secondary matchup here and getting both shields from the Gourgeist. This was really our opponent played a very clean matchup. This opponent was really mad at himself because he's a terrific battler, and he was just like furious that he lost this game with such good alignment. But he really only made 2 slight errors, and other than that, I thought played pretty well. The first slight error was trying to farm down completely here, because after this Night Slash right here, he has the Seed Bomb, and he allows me to get to this one, this other Night Slash, whereas he probably would have been better off just throwing Seed Bomb at my low health Primeape and only going down 1 shield. I think that would have put him in a lot better spot, even though he probably wouldn't have gotten the Shadow Ball off on my Steelix. he still would have had a shield, which probably would have been more useful. And then the only other mistake was just losing track of the Luxray's energy here and allowing me to CMP. But to be honest, it's so hard to keep track of the snarls on Luxray. And he was also quite unlucky that I was getting quite a few denials and sneaks with the Luxray. So 2 very slight errors from our opponent. If he banks this crunch instead of throwing it at the Luxray, maybe he's in a better spot. I don't even know. Maybe it doesn't even change anything. But yeah. In this video, different one, I know, but it's just kind of showing you that you can overcome some pretty bad situations, some pretty bad leads, bad safe swaps, bad third matchups with the correct plays, with a little bit of trickery. And it's not always out of your control. So never give up in a battle unless it's absolutely positively over. I mean, I still top left when I realized there's no longer a win con. But you didn't see me top left when I saw the Machamp in the back, or you saw me play it out. And there's a reason you always want to play it out, to play out the win con. And we ended up finding it here in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know a lot of you guys really like these breakdowns. Some of you, it's not really your style. You'd rather see the quick, sped up GBL battles over and over, and those are a lot of fun too. But I think it's important to mix up the content, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've got another kind of mixing up content video coming out soon, maybe tomorrow or the next day. And yeah, I'm also excited for these regional tournaments sponsored by Pokemon coming up in the coming months, and maybe try and do some more in-person content in terms of vlogging style and my experience at these in-person tournaments. I think I'm going to meet a lot of cool people. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Let me know if you're excited for this upcoming season of Go Battle League as well. There's going to be no ELO. It's going to stop at rank 20 for your Pikachu Libres. Different cup every week. Just kind of a chill interlude season, they're calling it. No pressure, really. Should be a nice, relaxing season and a chance to try out some new Pokemon and try out some new content as well for folks like me, like your boy. All that said, thank you so much for watching. Comment anything you'd like down below. All comments help us out here. And all that said, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.